right, good day to you all, and it's great to have you here. Depending on where you're joining us from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or when you replay this video. We're excited to welcome you to this free webinar on HR Cybersecurity Awareness. My name is Sophia, and I'll be your host for today. It's a cozy Friday in Accra, Ghana, and of course, the beginning of a long weekend for majority of you in this meeting. I also want to know where you are joining in from and your name as well. Let's know where you are joining us from, and we'll be glad to acknowledge you. I can see Ma Minora, I can see Ata, Kakra, and quite a number of people on the call. We want to welcome you all. We are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. And this program is proudly sponsored by the Association of Certified HRs Ghana, which is a community of certified HR professionals and also professionals that are preparing for their certification. Also, as an association, our core objectives include networking, continuous professional development, and HR advocacy. And it is for this reason why we have organized this webinar to show a sign or a testament of our commitment to your professional growth journey. Back to the topic on HR cybersecurity awareness. Now, why at all should HRs be interested in cybersecurity? Before I proceed, let me say hi to some of our viewers. I can see Princess. Hi, Princess. Hi, Bariga Atta. You joining from Qatar. Wow, that's great. I can see Judith. Hello, Judith. You're joining from Kumasi. Hi, Jamila too. Hi, Comfort. Hi, Theodora. It's good to see you and to have you all on the call. Right, back to business. We want to look at why, as HR professionals, we need to be aware about cybersecurity. And I believe that we've all celebrated the relief, that technology has brought to us, making our work very seamless, streamlining our tasks and automating them as well. But how joyfully are hopping onto these technological systems, we must also be positioned for threats that this cyber or this technology would bring to our doorsteps. As HR professionals, we are prime targets for cyber threats, and it's for this reason that we need to be aware about cybersecurity and also to safeguard the data and information that we are custodians of, especially when it comes to employee data, their records, payroll, and everything that we have in our custody. So by the end of this webinar, I believe that you are going to be armed with a lot of tools and requisite knowledge as to how to go about these and to earn the trust of the organization as well. So to walk us through this webinar is a seasoned expert and a thought leader in this subject matter, and he's going to be leading our discussion and also answering all our questions that we have regarding cybersecurity. So I'll go ahead to introduce him shortly, but feel free to put your questions in the comment section at any point during the presentation, and in due time we'll have them addressed. So with us, Chief Information Security Officer for MoneyPoint Incorporated, responsible for establishing and maintaining the enterprise cybersecurity vision, strategy, and program to ensure information assets and technologies are protected. Prior to his current role, he had held positions such as the Information Security Manager for 360 Treasury Systems, a member of the Dutch Boss Group, the Chief Information Security Officer for Stanbic Bank Ghana, and had played various roles, includes auditing, DENK system software development, systems and network administration, among other IT-related roles, accumulating over 15 years of experience in cybersecurity, IT, and related disciplines. He holds a master's degree in cybersecurity from EC Council University in the USA, and other certifications from other universities as well. He was previously a board member for Isaka Accra chapter, responsible for membership, and has been a keynote speaker at various cyber security conferences locally and internationally. We must be very honored to have you on the call today. It's my singular honor to welcome you, Albert Irenchi Dankwa. Hi, Albert, you're welcome.
Hello, Sophia. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm
It's good
glad.
to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Right. So, currently hand over to you to share your thoughts on HR cybersecurity and arm us with every necessary tool we need to have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I hope I'm audible enough.
Right.
Good. So I'll just dive straight into it. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, I've already been introduced, so I'll just skip this part. But I guess the point here is, why should you listen to me, right? And the summary of why you should listen to me is, I've been around for quite some time, so I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of things that are happening, and it's very important that we are having this conversation. I'm sure many of you have joined cybersecurity trainings that your various cybersecurity teams have been conducting in your various organizations. But this may be the first time that we are talking to you, as an HR professional like you. We are singling you out. And why this conversation is important, we'll get into it very soon. It's because many of you would think that, well, of what use am I in the larger realm of things? When we are talking about cybersecurity, it's a whole lot of things, right? I mean, so just let me know when we talk about cybersecurity, what comes to mind. You can just put that in the comments, and let's take it from. So it's a conversation. Not forget about my presentation. Don't dwell on the presentation. Let's have a conversation, right? Because this is for you. So I'm looking at the comments. If you hear cybersecurity, what comes to mind? Maybe one word or two words tops. What comes to mind? If you hear cybersecurity or cyber attack, what comes to mind? Let me see if I have engaging audience. Okay. All right. Thank you, Yvonne. Okay. Yeah, I'm waiting. When you hear cybersecurity or cyber attack, what comes to mind? Threats, protecting data. Okay. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. User awareness. Great. So the reason I ask this is that usually when we hear cybersecurity, our minds goes to so far away. Our minds go so far away, and we think that, well, that is the problem of the CISO, or that is the problem of IT people. They do the thing. They know how these things work. I mean, I can only operate my phone. I don't even know how to turn on a camera. So what have I got to do with cybersecurity and attacks and hackers and all of these things? So usually when we talk about cybersecurity, what we are referring to, it's how individuals, and I like to usually step away from organizational conversation to individual organization. And the reason I do that is, when you think about cybersecurity and you think about organization first, misplaced priority. Because you, as an individual, even your kids, everyone should be worried about cybersecurity. Why? We are all on TikTok, we are all on Facebook, we are all on Instagram, we are everywhere. Today, technology is embedded into our lives. Yesterday, I was making a dinner reservation, and they sent me a form, and they put there that email is mandatory. So I was thinking, why do you need my email address to give me food to eat? All right. But a lot of people would give the email address. They will gather a whole lot of email addresses. Then the question is, what do they do with this email address? Somebody will have an access to this email address, will send you a mail like, oh, the last time I met you at this restaurant or that restaurant. You get it? So I was just going to eat, but they took information from me. All right, so that's why I have to be concerned about cybersecurity. That's why you have to be concerned about cyber. So cybersecurity is how you, as an individual, or to a large extent an organization, reduces the risk of cyber attack. Now, when we talk about cyber attack, a whole lot of things comes to mind, right? Cyber essentially means internet. So when you say cyber attack, it means an attack using the internet. All right. And sometimes you would hear information security, you hear cyber security. Information security is everything that you do to protect your information. And the information includes things that you have on your laptop, on your desktop, on a sheet of paper, whether online or offline. But usually when we say cyber, when we qualify it as cyber, we typically mean things that are digital, things that are online. It does not necessarily include data that you have on sheet. That is information security. So if you hear the two words, they are used interchangeably, but technically that's the difference. Information security is broader. Cyber security is just about digital stuff, right? And then you would hear things like data breach. Data breach would be that, okay, you have data stored somewhere and someone now has unauthorized access to it, or they've stolen that data. That is data breach. Now, data breach is different from cyber attack. Data breach is an example of cyber attack. So if you are tagged online, it's either they've stolen data from you, or they have defrauded you, or they've done something like that, right? Now there's cyber fraud. It's just fraud done on the internet. And then there is cyber crime committed using cyber. And when I say cyber, I mean internet or anything digital. Okay, so that's the difference. And then there's cyber warfare, like Ukraine and Russia fighting. Instead of bombing themselves, they decide to do attack themselves via the internet, where they can bring down electricity or they can bring down their transport system. That's cyber warfare. And there are things like, you hear things like ransomware, malware, virus, all of these things. I'm just picking a few of them. Malware means malicious software. So we put them together and then we get malware. So whilst you have WhatsApp on your phone, and it's a great software someone created for you to communicate with family and friends, other people too have sat down and are thinking about, how do I really make money? Not in a good way, but steal data, sell the data, and make money. So this guy will develop a software, and that software, in a broader sense, is called malicious software, because the software's intent is malicious. So you have malicious software. And when we put that together, we call it a malware. An example of malware would be a virus, which, if it infects your computer, would either wipe it out or do whatever the programmer decided that the virus should do. You would have Trojan. Trojan is so from the Greek mythology and all those things. Trojan is, you see an app, let's say on the Play Store or App Store, or even you are downloading the thing, and then it says that it's a calculator. You download the calculator, but behind the calculator, there's a malicious software there. So they come in as a good tool, but behind it, they're doing really bad things. So that's a Trojan. And we have things like worm, which is like a virus that can propagate on its own. We would have ransomware. Ransomware is, let's say, like a virus, but the motive of it is to lock up your computer or your phone unless you pay a ransom. So they are holding your data at ransom, and on and on and on and on. There are so many buzzwords when it comes to cyber security. If you have any question whilst I'm speaking, you can drop it in the comments. So if I see it, I can answer it as part of my presentation. Or if you like, you can wait till the end of the presentation. All right. So There's a proverb that says that if headache comes to town, of what concern is the crab? The reason is the crab has no head. So if everyone is getting a headache, of what concern will that be to the crab? A lot of people would say, if you are talking about cybersecurity, what has that got to do with me as an HR person? And that's why we are on this call. The reason you are very vital, you are in the middle of this conversation, is because apart from customer data, so let's say if you work in a bank or you work in insurance or you work in a hospital, apart from customer data, one of the sensitive, highly sensitive data that you get to work with is usually in HR. Because in HR, you have salaries, you have very confidential information that people would have, they have issues, they are telling HR, I have this issue, can you help me? And a whole lot of other data. You can help me. I mean, you are the professionals. Just drop in the comments. What data do you work with on your day-to-day, during your day-to-day activities that it has crossed your mind already? That if this information really leaves my desk, or if this information leaves my laptop, or this information leaves my phone, it will be detrimental to the organization or to myself. Just let's see, what kind of data do you work with that you think is very sensitive? Just put in a comment. Like I said, we're having a conversation. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself because I can only see myself in the camera. So talk to me. All right. Thank you very much. Next of kin. Imagine that an employee, everyone knows that you are married to this person. These are your kids. And then in your HR data systems, you have put next of kin of some child you have somewhere. If somebody mentioned this to your wife, trouble, Abby. You see, I mean, next of kin, medical records, appointments letter, bank. Thank you. Okay, we are on the same page. So you do agree with me that you hold some sensitive information that we should consider. Now, the second thing is that of all the number of years of experience that I have, a lot of us in cybersecurity, we shift to tools. So you hear firewalls, you hear MDM, you hear all those fancy terms, right? But I've come to realize that for somebody to attack an organization, they can make nonsense of all the technological tools, the fancy tools that we have, by targeting one person, and that's the human. So if you target the human, you make nonsense of all the technical tools. And actually, human error is the top cause of data breaches. The top. It's not one of the top, it is the top. In fact, about 75% of all data breaches start with a human making a mistake. And guess the name of your position: human resource, human capital, all those names that you have. Human this, human that, human this. So if 75% of all breaches, all time breaches in the world start with the human, who should be the first person we need to talk to when it comes to cybersecurity? Is it not the human resource person or the human capital person? And I really think that it's even late that we are now having this conversation. The very moment that cybersecurity came as a concept, I think it should have started from HR, not IT. All right, but it's not too late. We are having a conversation now. And again, cybersecurity is no longer IT job, it's everybody's job, like I've already mentioned. And then as an individual in HR, you can both be a target or a defender. Forget about the your bank account, which looks like an FM frequency, 90.1. Akosra na 107.9. So you think that, wait, why is someone concerned about me because my bank account looks like an FM frequency? All right. But even if you are not the target, you hold the keys to the kingdom. So I'm not coming after you as an individual, but I want to go through you to get to my end goal, So you can be a target and you can be a defender, because as people and culture person, thank you very much, Flora. As people and culture, and I like this name. I like this new title for HR folks, because it's people and culture, and that's why we're having this conversation. We are talking about the people, and we are talking about the culture that they live. I remember in social studies they say culture is the way a group of people live, and it's really nice to know that we will be able to form or carve a certain culture in an organization. All right. So, give an example of how you can be a target. And this is this real life story. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 stories. In fact, let me start with the first story before I come to the HR. About a year ago, there's this company in Singapore, and they have an office in the UK. So the CFO is in the UK, but some of the finance people are in Singapore. The finance person got a call. No, he got an email first from the CFO that we need to pay a certain company about $20 million. The guy wasn't too sure. I was like, wait, why are you sending me an email to do that? I mean, we've all done phishing awareness, and everybody on this call, one way or the other, you've had phishing and you probably have come across these kind of trainings. So the guy is like, no, I've heard this thing before. It's not real. So he responded to the email. Maybe we should jump on a call so that we talk about this, just to be sure, The CFO says, sure, why not? He sent a Zoom link. They got on the call. It was the CFO on the call. Then there were other colleagues in his office on the call as well. So they had a discussion about the deal, blah, blah, blah. The CEO has given the approval, everything, because this guy, he thinks he's really done the best. He didn't respond to the email. I mean, he didn't follow up. He didn't act on the email, follow up with a call. They got on a call. They've done Zoom meeting. I see all of you on the call. He went to do the payment. A day later, it came to light that indeed that was fraudulent. And everybody else on the call, apart from this guy, was AI generated video. So, how do you even go about this? That you get on the call, you talk to people, you hear their voices, you see their faces, but none of them was real. They were all AI generated images. And if you're active on Snapchat and you see some of the boys in there, you see the tools they are selling to change their voices. You see the tools they are selling to actually so as we are on the call right now, I can have a software on my laptop and I'll just pick a picture, put it there, and that picture will be talking. Like Sophia will be talking to you, but it will be me. You'll have nothing to do. Like, you won't see my face. I'll just embed it with a picture, and all the gestures and everything, it will look like a real person, So that happened. This is not a story. This is not hypothetical what could happen. It happened a year ago, and they lost $20 million. You can just Google it up. Say Singapore company loses money to AI. You see the story there. Another example, and this is to you, HR people, especially those who do recruitment. So you put out an advert, and people hit you up directly with CVs. It's normal day in the office. You get the CV, you open the CV, you look at the requirements. Super. But behind that CV is a malicious code, which could be a rat. A rat is remote access Trojan. That is embedded in the PDF. So once you download the PDF onto your machine gets infected. What it means is that this guy can remote into your laptop, and everything that you are doing, they see. Yagani. You type your password, they see. You're typing an email, they are there. And this is not hypothetical. This is real life story. By just clicking on a PDF that is purported to be a CV. In fact, it is a CV, so you won't even see that it's not a CV. You open it, you see it's a CV for a job role that you advertised for. And this is day to day. This is what we do. This is what we're hired to do. So how do we deal with this matter? Are you saying that if I put out an advert and people respond, I should not open it? If I don't open it, what do I do now? I won't have a job. You get it? So that's why we are having this conversation. I may not have all the answers I know the answers, but we may not be able to discuss all the answers here. But this conversation is for you to now go and ask your CISO, go and ask your cybersecurity person that, hey, what are you doing to help me protect the organization? Or how are you protecting me from this risk? Because this is my job. I need to do my job. But I cannot be second guessing myself every time when I put out an advert, people are responding and I can't open it for fear of being attacked. So I'm leaving you with a lot of questions. Write them down. Go and ask your people. All right. Good. Now, so this is an example of why you are a target. All right. And guess what? Who on this call is not on LinkedIn? I am on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Everybody sees me on LinkedIn. You know, we all are on LinkedIn. So I go to LinkedIn and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for HR people in Ghana. Your name will show up. I know that you work in this organization. There is a way that I can get your email address. If it is not your first name dot your last name at the company you work with, it is your first name, the first letter of your first name and your last name at the name of the company. Whatever combination is this, I will try whatever. I'll send you an email. I'll say, hey, so I know you work here, blah, blah, blah. Even if you have not advertised for something, if not advertised for a role, I can have a conversation with you. You probably, chances are you will click, you know, and all of that. So how do we protect ourselves? I mean, there are so many examples that I can give, but let's just box on. So human really is the weakest link. And like I said, HR, we need to have this conversation. Now, example of what I've mentioned, we've heard of phishing. Sometimes you hear spear phishing, you hear whaling. Okay, so let me just quickly go through this. Phishing, I would assume most of us know, or we've come to hear when people send you unsolicited email and they expect you to either click on a malicious link or provide some data information to them, or whatnot. Spear phishing is still phishing, but this case, I know you. I went to LinkedIn, I looked you up. So the email I'm sending to you, Mabo within Namafro, I have mentioned your name, I have made reference to your company, and I probably have said, hey, we met at maybe you came to HR certification center, you passed your exam, hey, you're happy, you made a post, you've tagged people. It's like, hey, we met at HR certification conference the last time. Don't you remember me? So we spoke about this. You said I should send you my CV or I should send you this link, but attached. So here I am targeting you. That's why it's called spear phishing. You know, like when you go for fishing and then you throw the net, that is fishing. But when you go with a spear, you see a fish, you target it, and then you trick that fish. That's a spear fish, and I'm coming for you. And whaling is going after a big fish, like a CEO, a CFO. All right. So if you ever see some of these things, it's just the same thing, but the targets are different. And there are other. So now what I'm doing is I'm going away from HR and I'm talking about other general risk there, which may or may not concern you, but still, hear me out. There's a CEO fraud. So that case I explained earlier about the CFO, blah, blah, blah. That's an example of what we call business email compromise. So here, we want to scam the organization, we want to defraud the organization, and it could come in any form. It could come as a CEO fraud, where your CEO will send you an email or send you a WhatsApp and say, hey, so and so, I was thinking that we could really buy gift cards for staff. I'm thinking of a campaign that we need to do. I am here at Melcom. I've seen some gift cards. I was like, let me just grab them and bring them to you so we can do this on Monday. But I'm really low on cash. Can you do Momo for me so I get these gift cards? Your CEO has sent you this on WhatsApp. The chances that you respond and send that Momo is very high. Right. That's an example of a low-level scam that people would do. CEO fraud, the CEO will send you an email, blah, 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 and all of that. And then there is the employee account compromise where you target someone in HR, procurement, finance, people in strategic places. Then say you compromise someone in procurement. And then so if I take over someone in procurement's account and I'm generating fake invoices and sending to finance to pay, if you are in a very big organization where procurement processes have been streamlined and you have a system, you may think that, okay, well, this problem has been solved, to a large extent. If you're in a small organization where you just deal with email, someone in procurement or someone in finance will send an email to this one to approve and then you make payments out, means that your risk is really high. All right. So those are some of the examples that can happen. Now, before I get here, initially I was talking about how you can be a target. So if, say, I send you a fake email, you click on the link, I drop a remote access Trojan onto your machine. So I'm looking at everything that you're doing. I will see you type your password, right? Now I have access to your password. Now I can send email on your behalf. And here it is not a fake email. It is a legitimate email because I use your password. I logged onto your account and I'm sending the email from your account. So your IT systems will not flag it because it is a legit email. All right. Now send that email. Look at this. So let's say you're head of HR or you are head of what's the role that pays salaries? Say people operations, right? HR operations. Or you are an HR business partner. I get into your account. Then I send an email, I put an attachment, and I send to my partners that, hey, your boss has nominated you for promotion. Kindly fill out this form. Tell me who is not going to open this. So this is not an email coming from outside that is purporting to be from an HR person. It is coming from inside because I compromise the HR person. Or I send an email to all staff. And I say that here we are making changes to our compensation, blah, 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 blah. Sent to even the CEO will click it, even though he has not raised that question or we've not had that conversation. He will open it and try to find out what is in there before he gives you a call and say, hey, when did we have this conversation? Now, when that happens, everybody in the organization is likely to be compromised. Or I may not try to target everybody. At this point, maybe I want the head of IT's account or I want the administrator's account, and I am not getting him because that guy is security conscious. I would come to you in HR who probably is not security conscious. If I compromise you and I send an email with your account to that administrator who is already feeling like he has been passed by promotion, he has been doing this IT work for 7 years and has not been promoted, and his HR business partner is sending him an email to say that your boss has nominated you, the guy is going to forget all the security things that he knows and how he has been, he's going to click it. And then he gets compromised. So once he gets compromised, I have the IT systems accounts. What can you tell me? I'll work like this because I can compromise the whole organization. Get into your financial system, pay myself. Get into your core banking if it's a bank, modify customer accounts, or give myself a lot of zeros after my 0.2 bank account. You get it? So you see how it goes. Now, this is when you look at it from an external point of view. But there are syndicates who have seen this, and what they do is that they now put people among us, insider threats. They can go to the extent that they would train someone, the person will go to school, apply to be a national service person with you, will do the contract with you, will become staff. They have time, they will wait. Or this person is part of the cleaners. 5 a.m. when we are all snoring, who is in our offices? Cleaners. If a cleaner walked into your office as an HR organization, what would they see? Are they likely to see a promotion letter lying on your desk because you were hurry? Your boyfriend was picking you up last night, so you really ran. Or, well, there's a fireproof cabinet, but you put the thing in, you didn't lock it. Or you locked it all right, but the key is in your drawer, which is not locked. Which is not locked. So if you enter your HR organization, your office right now, think about these things. 5 a.m., if a cleaner entered there, what are they likely to have access to? There are people who join us and are malicious. There are others that they are really not malicious, but they are very negligent. Like I said, the organization has provided a fireproof cabinet that every sensitive information document, put it in this, lock it. Now, this person locks it all right, but leaves the key in an unlocked drawer. It's not intentional, but this person is an inside threat because based on their negligence, someone else will have access to the key, open the fireproof cabinet, and everybody's details are there. So, what can we do? There's so many things we can do. Apart from technical controls, where your information security department, information security unit are supposed to put technical controls. That's why we have antivirus, we have anti-malware, we have all these things that we install on your computers, and you are shouting that we've made your computer slow and all of that. Now, if you have anti-malware on your laptop, if you click and there's malicious, then it will quarantine it, and then this will not be your problem. So you can continue to do your work. But lack of that would mean that you're going to compromise yourself. So you need to be aware of this, so that if you realize you do not have antivirus, you would run to IT and say, hey, my machine is at risk. I need you to solve this for me, And the HR systems that we use now, when you're going out there to buy a system, to implement a system, SAP or whatever, you're going to ask the right questions. Who have access to this? How do I restrict access? How do I do this? Do you encrypt it? We are just equipping you to ask the right questions. You won't be the one to go implement these things, but you're going to ask the right questions. Okay, so that's really one of my major what's it called, objectives for this conversation. Now, you as an individual, how do you handle data? Do you go to the extent of putting it in a fireproof cabinet and leaving the key on your desk? Think about all these things. How do you handle sensitive? If you are dealing with sensitive data and someone comes to stand behind you, show that self what you are doing, do you turn around and say, please, this is a confidential, restricted area. Can you stand in front of my laptop rather than behind me? Our systems, do they have MFA? And today, attackers are even making nonsense of MFA. My last, this is an organization I worked with. And okay, I've left Money Point, so I can talk about this. All right, so Money Point is in Nigeria. And prior to Money Point, I was in Stambik in Ghana. Now, when I entered Nigeria, I realized that no. What they say about Nigeria is really Nigeria. Like, the kind of things you have to deal with, the scammers, the extent to which they have to go. Like 2FA, now we are talking about 2FA, MFA, you get OTP, that's nonsense to them. Excuse my French. Because they have a way to get you to give them the OTP. Now we had to do facial recognition on the thing, and they have trying to find a way, or they even found a way to go past facial recognition. So yeah, it's just a continuous thing that we need to do, but just be aware that at least the very little thing that you can do, you need to do all these things. And if you realize that the risk still persists, we can carry on and do more. All right. So when you hear that we have to do VPN and all of that, and you are shouting at IT, why can't I access this directly, even on my phone? Why do I have to now log into a VPN and all of that? It's some of these things. People are really out there to get you in HR. You may not think of yourself as you hold much, but from today, think of yourself like really, 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 you are a target. Because if I get to HR and I have all your names, I have your email addresses, I have your next of kin, I have all of this, and I cannot target the individual in your organization. I will go in there and I'll say that, hey, your son in this school, you know how the Momo fraud people have been calling, they'll call you and they say that your son had an accident and this is the school teacher. They'll give the phone to the doctor and the doctor. The reason we get away with this is because when we ask them which school, they are not able to answer. Now imagine that I target HR. I have access to employee list, to their next of kin, and to an extent, the hospitals they visit or the schools they even belong to. Now, when I call you, I would say, hey, are you the mother of Kwakumenu in this school? We are at this your hospital. Then you start asking questions, madam, please, are you not the one living at this address? How would I know all of this about you? Now, this information really, they are all sitting in HR somewhere. And someone in HR says, of what use am I to cyber attackers? What do I have? It is what you have access to, not what you have. Okay. Are you scared enough? I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to open your eyes. You already know these things, but you haven't put them together. So I'm just opening your eyes. Yeah. All right. So there are red flags that you need to watch out for. And there are just so many things we can talk about. There are just so many things we can talk about. But I don't want this session to be about, we can't solve all the problems. Hopefully, there will be subsequent sessions about these things. And then we'll now go into deeper how you can do this or do that. But if you go out of this meeting and you start questioning your security people, if you happen to be in an organization where there's no cybersecurity person, that's even worse. Now go and hold your head of IT or go and hold your CEO that you need this problem solved. If you have a cybersecurity team, go and ask them how they are protecting you as an HR person to do your job. All right. So they will be able to, so now once your teams are doing the cyber awareness and all of that, they will teach you what red flags to look out for, what is a reporting procedure if you have an issue, how do you report, and the importance of reporting, on time and whatnot. All right. Okay. So, Sophia and the rest of the HR center, I think you need to get this T-shirt, and share to everybody who joined the call. I'll pay. All right. So you can't spell hero. You can't spell hero. Right. You can't spell hero without HR. All right. You are the heroes of the story. At least you pay us every month, you pay us every month. So you are the real MVPs, right? Now, what can you do? How do you really help in this? I spoke about how you are a target, but here I'm talking about how you can be a defender. All right. Because people in IT are going to do their bit to defend you, but what are you also going to do to defend the organization or yourself as an individual? And I say yourself because, see, your kids, they're always on your phone. Typically we say that, okay, I don't care if I lose my phone. All I care about is the SIM and probably my numbers. But now that you upload your numbers to Gmail and all of that, you don't even care. I said the day you would have your own homemade videos, and by homemade videos, your own porn videos and nude pictures on your phone. That's the day you hold the phone with your life. All right. There are so many details you have on your phone, even in WhatsApp, because now we have WhatsApp groups, work WhatsApp groups. You have the general WhatsApp group, you have the departmental WhatsApp group, you have the unit WhatsApp group, and then you have the concerned WhatsApp group at work. Like a few friends of you just have created your page, and when there's a discussion on the main page, you go to your concerned group, and then you're also discussing your things. Imagine someone got hold of your phone and entered these WhatsApp groups. What information would they have access to? Okay, so HR heroes, champions. What can we do? Remember I said that 75% of our attacks come through the human. How does the human enter the organization? HR. So if you did your job very well, I know you're trying, but if you made no mistakes in background checks and all of those things, then it means that 75% of that problem is solved. And then you leave IT to use the technologies to solve the 25%. But how do we do onboarding? How do we do background checks? We tell you to go to the police station and bring a police report. You and I know that report is useless. You can't tell me otherwise. You ask them to go and bring police report, but you know that sheet is rubbish. Our problem is systematic. You can't solve that problem, but the question is, you cannot rely on that police report. And So how do we ensure that the person we are hiring is not part of a syndicate that is coming into the organization? To get access, to hand over that access to the attacker. So rather than attacking somebody and doing phishing and going round, you get somebody into the organization, you give the person access. We need to do regular awareness. So now that you can also HR go ahead and do awareness about how to watch people with the eye. You can do an awareness for your team leads, how to pick up red flags in your people, their behavior, so think about it. There are local laws that we need to abide by, like the data protection and all of that. Then your role in audits and documentation, you are doing ISO, you are doing this, there's a role you need to play. And we have a lot of policies that we have set up. Do you enforce them? How do we enforce them? How do we create a culture of policy adherence? Because that acceptable use policy that IT created and gave to you to force everybody to sign when they join the organization, it's not for decoration. There are things, real things in that document that we expect you to help the IT team to deliver this, or to get people to create the culture of people really taking care of the data that they have access to and whatnot. Okay, so all right, I'll end here and open mic. So Sophia, back to you. You can lead the conversations in terms of any questions that are there. But I see some questions in the comments. I'll quickly run through those ones, and then we can take questions. So someone spoke up. Yeah, someone spoke about the issue of accepting or not accepting cookies. Sometimes it's inconvenient. So the thing with cookies is it's a regulation in the EU. That's the GDPR. Now, cookies, that technology cookies is useful. It's what it is that it's just a file that keeps data of. So let's say if you log on to Facebook, it will keep that session for you. It won't keep your password per se, but so when you log in with your username and your password, Facebook gives something called a token. It's a long line, and once you have that token, you can log into any other system that is linked to Facebook. So that's why when you turn off your machine and you turn it back on and you go to Gmail, they don't ask you to log in again because the last time you logged in. So they've kept that session. So they keep this information in a file called cookies. Now, what attackers do is that when they get to your machine and they steal that file, they now have your token, so they don't have your username and your password, but they have your token. They can use that token to log on to your Facebook without using your username and password and whatnot. And people to also use that cookies to check other websites you have visited. That is why when you visit one website, or when you visit Amazon and then you are searching for sex toys, the next time you open Facebook adverts, they're showing you all manner of things and you're wondering, how did this happen here? So these are how they use cookies here and there and all of that. There's a regulation, European regulation, GDPR, that people misuse the cookies. But if you need it for the operation of your website, tell the person. Now the person will have to go through and agree whether you should use cookies or not. Now every website wants you to agree that they can put cookies on your machine to track your activities on certain websites and blah, blah, blah. Some go to the extent of listing all the companies that have access to that your cookie, which means that they are selling the data of the website you are visiting to these third parties. But it's a matter of, do you need us or do I need you? So we accept anyway because we need them. So that's the cookie and how they are doing these things. In my views, senior management took a lead in developing cloud data protection. See, Edward, you're right. Senior management need to, but they will not. And the reason they will not is because they are busy with other things. I mean, who sets up an organization to be secured? Nobody does. We set up an organization to make money. First of all, when we incorporate it, our objective, we've seen an opportunity here, let's go make money. Nobody incorporates an organization and say that I want this organization to be secure. That's my objective. No. It is money first, but wait, we can lose the money. All right, what can we do? Let's protect what we are saving, or let's protect the money we are making. Then it comes next. So somebody has been hired to take care of that part. So you, who has been hired to do this, you develop that clear blah, blah, blah. I know that all the policies will say that the tone at the top and the management, in practical terms, this doesn't happen. Now you sit down, do the strategy, have a meeting with management and tell them that this is what you have seen. This is the problem. Please support me to do this. But they won't do it. You need to get their buy-in by convincing them. So that's the approach. That will be a better approach. But if you are waiting for management to sit down and think about this and develop the policy, it will never happen. Trust me. All right, cool. I think the questions in the chat are done now. So, Sophia, back to you if you can take questions from the audience.
Thank you, Albert, for such profound insights shared with us, especially the real life scenarios you inculcated in your presentation. More specifically, the Singapore story you shared. It's really interesting, and I could see people typing in the comment section, "This is scary, this is scary, this is scary." I believe we did not perceive it as scary as it appears. There's a question in the chat box. This is coming from Lydia. She says, can we talk about the issue of accepting or not accepting? Oh, okay, that has been addressed. I think someone asked the same question. We have a lot of engagements. This session is very essential and informative. This is an eye opener. This is insightful. Scared enough to be more careful. That's interesting. And yes, I think senior managers shouldn't restrict cyber trainings to managers and all, but all lower staff as well. Great insights. These are from our audience. But before we wrap up, let me know, what do we do about those who work remotely? How do we ensure that they are also practicing if HR has gone a step further to do this?
Right. So before I answer your question, there's a question about what, in your opinion, can replace police reports. Honestly, I don't know. The reason I say I don't know, in this space, in this our Ghana, I don't know. So I live in Germany now, and when you get an apartment, you have 2 weeks to register your address with the city authorities. 2 weeks. So they know me, they know where I live. So if I'm getting a report, that's valid, that you can. But in Ghana, if I commit a crime in Sandema and I run to Agotime, nobody will know. Unless you kill a police officer, that one they will find you. All right. So I think that problem is systematic. We tend to also rely on references. So honestly, I don't have the answer. It's just something for you to think about. And what I can say is that we should not rely on just one thing. I know some organizations go to the extent of hiring a private investigator. So you can't do this for all your employees, but you don't even know who is going to come after you. You may think that the low-level person there that you are not doing this extensive research on or extensive PI investigation on, that person may even be the risk. Maybe not this new CFO that you have hired. That guy is already getting a lot of money. So of what concern is this? But the people down there that you may think, oh, this is not a risk. What do you have access to? So you will need to reevaluate your organization, look at the people that could be risky, depending on the kind of access they have or the data they are exposed to. Maybe you can start from there. The data they are exposed to, that's what we call risk assessment. You do a risk assessment to see that which roles have access to very sensitive data that could lead to a problem. And then you can do an extensive either private investigation, whatever, on them. So that's part. Yeah, I think senior managers should not restrict cyber. That's true. I agree with you. We should not restrict cyber security training to managers. Wait, why would you do that? Because senior managers they are not the ones who do the work. Maybe because of budget. But now let me do an advert. I mean, if you want a low budget training, if your organization has a low budget and you want a low budget, we can come do the training for you so that everyone should have access to training. You should not restrict this. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn profile. You can find me and whatnot. Sophia, if you have any questions, yeah.
Yes, I mentioned the question about remote work and how we can address that.
Right. So now,
Yes.
I mean, see, for me, since 2020, I have not been in any office before, and we've come to accept this. I've joined 3 organizations that when they were interviewing me, they didn't even know me. I had not met them. I had not stepped in any of their offices before. Okay. So we've come to accept this. Now, in this case, in fact, one of the risks there is even during the interviews. I spoke about AI and all of that. So you're interviewing somebody who lives somewhere online, and then they bring someone else's face and blah, 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 and all of that. There are systems in place. So for instance, if you are shipping a machine to this person to use, you need to have certain controls on the machine. One of them is what we call MDM, mobile device management. Some organizations go to the extent of installing things on their laptops that can monitor or restrict websites that you go to or what you do on your on your laptop. So if you embrace remote, it means that your technical controls needs to be really high up there, restrict people from using their laptops to do things that are not work related, as an example. So when you're doing remote, it is just technology that you can use to minimize your risk. Heightened monitoring, a lot of technical controls that you have on the laptop, and maybe find a way to measure productivity, I guess. But with regards to background checks and all of that, if it is remote in Ghana, maybe the person can come to the office at one point in time and then they can go perpetually. But if you're hiring from another country and they can't fly in and all of that, that also becomes a challenge. But really, really, it's a lot of technical controls that you need on your laptop to be able to control what they do.
All right. Thank you very much. It's 5 o'clock and it's been an insightful session. It's been a great time with you, and I believe our audience have enjoyed the discussion as well. we've heard a lot about cybersecurity, and I believe it calls for more vigilance from us as HR people personally, and also the fact that we are custodians of such information. So some people will say that the thieves are now behind the screens. So we have to be more aware. Our facilitator has also engaged us deeply and has given us some questions to reflect on and also to ask our security officers and what have you. Thank you for joining this session. Stay connected with us on all our social media handles: Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram on Association of Certified HRs Ghana. You can also reach out to us via WhatsApp or contact us at 059 802 3626, 059 802 3626, or email us at admin@phrglobal.com. Thank you for spending the beginning of your weekend with us. Have a good day.